All right, joining us now to talk a little bit more about this is Oleksiy Goncharenko, Ukrainian MP and President of the PACE Committee on Migration, Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons, who joins us live from Ukraine. Oleksiy Goncharenko, thanks very much indeed for talking to WION. Tell us a little bit more about this peace of victory plan that President Zelensky will be presenting to President Biden. What incentives would it have for Russia to end this war, given its renewed military push in several of your regions recently?
I'm not aware of all the parts of this plan, but the president was quite clear yesterday on the press conference when he said that there are several parts of this plan. First is a military pressure. Yes, you're right, Ukraine is under military pressure of Russia in the eastern part of our country, but at the same time, Ukraine is advancing in Kursk region of Russian Federation, and Ukraine already controls more than 1,300 square kilometers of Russian territory. And just for understanding, it's more than Malta, Liechtenstein, San Marino combined. So this is a big territory, and Ukraine continues to advance there. So clearly, we also have a military leverage in Russia. Next is a diplomatic isolation of Russia and support of the world. And we hope very much that India will be involved in these efforts in order to isolate Russia as a country aggressor, because Russia started this war. And it's in the interest of all other countries in the world to stop this war as quickly as possible. And very important part of this is sanctions against Russia. So altogether, I hope this will create the situation where Russia will be ready for some negotiations. That's probably the plan of President Zelensky. Okay. Me personally, I'm not sure about this, because I think that Russia wants negotiations only with the United States of America. And the problem in these, there is a problem that there is no president of the United States. I mean, Biden is leaving. Who will be next president of the United States, nobody knows. So I think that more chances for real negotiations will be after U.S. presidential elections.
Okay, that's an important point you're making, Oleksiy Goncharenko. But I just want to go back to that point you made about a diplomatic push. It's definitely required at this stage of the war, but a diplomatic isolation may not exactly help. Now, Ukraine presented a peace blueprint in Switzerland as well to 90 countries where Putin was not invited, and the Global South was also non-committal. Do you think it's something that will bring Putin to the talking table? What has changed?
I think that if more countries will be involved in this format and Putin will understand that he is threatened to be heavily isolated, that's something that's the scenario he doesn't want. And a lot of depends here from India, China, Brazil, and other countries, big countries of so-called the Global South, how sometimes they are called. Because, I understand that from a short-term perspective, India has a lot of benefits from trading with Russia. Russia is ready today to sell its commodities with the big discounts, and India can benefit from this. But in the long-term perspective, India, as well as all other countries in the world, will benefit from international law being respected. Because if the international law is not respected, if international order does not exist, this means that any big country can attack another country. India also has a big autocratic neighbor, which can be a threat for India, for example, and all other countries in the world also. They are in the same situation with some neighbor, some country. So I mean that it's in the interest of everybody in the city that the order is kept there, because they cannot be robbed, raped, and so on the street. So it's in the interest of the whole world not to have aggressors unpunished attacking other nations.
Okay. Let me ask you then about Prime Minister Modi, who met President Zelensky just last week. Do you think, again I ask you, can India play a critical role along with the Global South in negotiating this peace process?
I think India can play a very important role. And I think the fact that Prime Minister Modi came is important. We saw that after this visit, Prime Minister Modi spoke to President Biden, then he spoke to Putin. It's clear that there is some exchange of messages happening. So we will see how it will develop. But I really think that India can play a serious role because India is the biggest democracy in the world. And I'm sure that even more than in interest of all other countries, it's in interest of all democratic countries, including India, to prevent this creation of excess of tyrannies and excess of chaos. Russia, China, North Korea, Syria, Iran, and other countries, which is a threat to global security. So India can play a big role in stopping of this war. I believe in this.
Okay. My final question to you about, President Zelensky meeting, the U.S. President Biden, and is your country going to ask for long-range shadow missiles once again? I know this has been, a difficult point of negotiation between the U.S. and Ukraine, given your Kursk invasion and given how the Russians have bombarded several regions of yours in just the last week, and critical electricity supplies have also been cut short.
Yeah, it's very important. I want that people of India should understand that Russia is attacking in Ukraine mostly not military targets, but just civilian objects and energy infrastructure, for example. And all they want is to cause suffering for Ukrainian civilians, women, children, aged people. So it's complete barbaric warfare style, which is Russian style. So to stop this terror, we need more air defense, and we need possibility to attack Russian airfields, bases from which they launch these attacks by long-range Western weaponry. So we hope very much that our allies will support us in this.
All right, Oleksiy Goncharenko, Ukrainian MP, thanks very much indeed for joining us
Thank you.
On the broadcast today, and let's hope that peace prevails in the region.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.